The understanding of psychopathology has evolved significantly over centuries, blending supernatural beliefs with emerging medical theories. Here, we explore how ancient and pre-Enlightenment societies approached mental illness from a medical perspective, focusing on the Greeks' theory of the four humours and animistic beliefs, including how these conditions were treated. The theory of the four humours was a cornerstone of ancient Greek medicine and remained influential in Western medical thought for centuries. This theory, primarily developed by Hippocrates and later expanded by Galen, posited that human health and temperament were governed by four bodily fluids or humours: blood, phlegm, yellow bile and black bile. Treatment approaches were based on restoring balance among these humours. Blood characteristics were associated with a sanguine temperament, characterised by optimism, sociability and enthusiasm. An excess of blood was thought to cause overly enthusiastic or manic behaviour, while a deficiency might lead to lethargy or depression. Conditions associated with what was thought to be blood excess would today likely be diagnosed as bipolar disorder, specifically the manic episodes. A condition associated with what was thought to be caused by blood deficiency we know today as major depressive disorder. Treatments included bloodletting in forms of cutting into veins or arteries or later, use of leeches or dietary changes to reduce the perceived excess of blood. Foods and activities thought to cool the body, like consuming cold foods and engaging in relaxing activities, were recommended to balance the sanguine temperament. Characteristics that were linked to a phlegmatic imbalance related to temperament and associated with calmness, reliability and a steady demeanour. An imbalance of phlegm was thought to result in sluggishness or apathy, while too little could lead to irritability and restlessness. What would have been once diagnosed as excess phlegm would likely be diagnosed today as chronic fatigue syndrome or dysthymia. What was thought to be a result of deficiency in phlegm would likely be diagnosed today as generalized anxiety disorder or panic disorder. Treatments aimed at reducing phlegm included the use of warming herbs and spices, such as ginger or pepper, to stimulate energy and activity. Physical exercises and engaging in mentally stimulating activities were also recommended. Yellow bile was associated with a choleric temperament marked by ambition and a fiery nature. An excess of yellow bile was believed to cause irritability and aggression, while a deficiency might result in lack of motivation or energy. Conditions that were attributed to excess yellow bile would likely be diagnosed as intermittent explosive disorder or borderline personality disorder today. Deficiency of yellow bile, on the other hand, was attributed to what we know today as conditions like avolition in schizophrenia or apathy syndrome. Treatments included dietary modifications to include cool, moist foods and avoidance of spicy and hot foods to reduce the heat associated with yellow bile. Relaxation techniques and avoidance of stressors were also recommended. Black bile was linked to a melancholic temperament associated with introspection, seriousness, and a tendency towards sadness. An overabundance of black bile was thought to lead to depression and anxiety, while too little could result in a lack of emotional depth or sensitivity. Conditions associated to an abundance of black bile would likely be diagnosed today as major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. Conditions associated with a deficiency of black bile would likely be known today as conditions like emotional blunting in depression or alexithymia. Treatments included purging to eliminate excess black bile using laxatives or emetics. Light, cheerful activities and exposure to sunlight were encouraged to counteract melancholic tendencies. Before the Enlightenment, animistic beliefs played a significant role in understanding mental illness, often intersecting with early medical practices, particularly in societies where shamanism and spiritual healing were prevalent. Animistic cultures believed that all objects, places, and creatures possess a distinct spiritual essence. Mental illness was often seen as a result of spiritual imbalances or the presence of malevolent spirits. In many tribal societies, including indigenous peoples of the Americas and Siberian tribes, shamans served as spiritual leaders and early medical practitioners. They employed a range of techniques, such as rituals, drumming and herbal remedies, to restore harmony between the spiritual and physical realms. Treatment often involved rituals to appease or expel spirits, including chanting, dancing, and the use of sacred plants or substances. Shamans might perform soul retrievals or other ceremonies to restore the individual's spiritual balance and connection with the community and nature. Throughout history, the medical understanding of psychopathology has been deeply intertwined with cultural and spiritual beliefs. The ancient Greeks' humoral theory provided a foundation for medical approaches to mental illness, emphasizing physiological explanations and treatments aimed at restoring bodily balance. Meanwhile, animistic beliefs highlighted the importance of spiritual factors in mental health. These early perspectives laid the groundwork for later developments in medical science, offering valuable insights into the complex interplay between mind, body and spirit that continues to inform modern approaches to mental health care.